All right, folks, we might start because I'm well aware that we need to, people have commitments also, but I'd really like to give Kelly a sufficient amount of time to work through her presentation today. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Associate Professor Deb Clark, and I lead the SoTL SIG. It's hard to say sometimes, a SoTL SIG, but a really warm welcome to everybody. I can see that we have some international folks as well, which is wonderful. I would like to acknowledge the country in which you are working, living, and playing, and acknowledge our traditional owners. Also to acknowledge our elders past, present and emerging. I'm actually living and working in a place called Billywillinga, which is outside Bathurst in New South Wales, and come from Wiradjuri country, which is the biggest country in New South Wales. So look, I'd like to introduce Kelly today. I'm really pleased that Kelly agreed to do this. One of the things that we would like to start doing in this SIG is bringing in guest speakers. So it's wonderful to have someone such as Kelly to kick off that particular focus for us. So thanks, Kelly.
Absolutely. Can everyone hear me okay? You can do a thumbs up or just put in the chat, yes, Kelly, we can hear you well. Not, I will adjust my volume. Great, I see the thumbs up. Thanks, everybody. I've got my participants open, so if you put reactions, it means I can see that really well too. I want to say it's a pleasure to be here with you all. I'm loving reading through the chat right now, getting a sense of where everyone's from. I am Kelly Matthews. I'm speaking to you from Meanjin or Brisbane at the University of Queensland. I'm on country of Yagara and Turrbal people, so I'd also like to extend my respects to any First Nations people that are here with us today. And it's really great to see the representations of countries that you all are on, and also to get a little bit about who we are in the room. I see a lot of emerging, I'm emerging, but I'd like to be experienced. We've got some established people with us here today in terms of when we think about our relationship to SoTL. And I am loving the writing response too. When you think about your relationship to SoTL writing, I'm really liking the I enjoy it sometimes. My relationship is progressing, mostly friendly. Not sure. I have to keep thinking about it. Depends on the moment. Hesitant, absolutely. Tentatively experienced, and I love the writing. It's fantastic. Emerging. So there's something in here too about starting together. And I want to say that I hope in this session we can be thinking friends. And I love the idea of thinking friends, which I actually learned about at an SoTL conference, must have been 2017. And the idea of thinking friends is we're friends together where we're supporting each other, but we're also looking for that honesty and that authenticity. It's a space where we can understand that we're trying to understand and challenge each other all at the same time, but it always has that criticality. So I always love that idea of thinking friends. And I always think when I'm in a conversation with people, I want us to be thinking friends. And you all have already started demonstrating that through your willingness to actually share where you are at with your relationship with SoTL and also with SoTL writing. I will say that my relationship with SoTL is very good now, but it started off rocky and I had a lot of questions and I just wasn't sure about it, which is me. And it's not unusual for me. And I really appreciated that people took the time to sit down and really talk with me and listen to what I was kind of curious about. That helped me feel like I belonged a lot more in the International Society for the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning Community. And my relationship with writing, like yours, was all like, would I say that I love writing? A bit more now, but it took me a long time to get into it. And my first discipline in learning academic writing was the biomedical sciences. So I had a bit of a jump to make there. And I see I'm not the only one that's coming from a science background as well. So let's just keep all of this in mind, because it means in the room that we all bring unique expertise and we all have stories or anecdotes or things that we can share along the way in this session. That's going to contribute to the conversation. It's going to expand it, and it's going to remind us that we are all coming to this from different positions, standpoints, levels of confidence, comfort, and experience. So we're at this session. I want to be just to be upfront, when we're done at 12:50, you are not going to feel like you are an expert on writing. There's no way we're going to kind of get through all of that within an hour. I've already told Deb, I'm happy if there's interest to come back and go through more of what we're talking about. But what we're going to focus on now is how do we set up, how do we get into the mindset, and how do we start to plan writing? And we're also going to look at a few genres in writing for SoTL. But first, I want to start with kind of, this is one of the things that I spent a lot of time wondering at the beginning of my SoTL journey, which is what in the world are we talking about? Are we talking about the same things? And I just learned, and thanks to a great colleague and friend, Peter Felton, he said, Kelly, just let 1,000 flowers bloom. You don't have to pick one definition and rule the rest out. So when I think about scholarship of teaching and learning, or scholarship of teaching, as Boyer originally called it, I am happy for it to include scholarly teaching. I'm happy for it to include that inquiry. And I like that inquiry to be lots of different ways. I don't think there's one right or wrong way to do a SoTL inquiry. Very happy when people talk about going public in SoTL. One way you do that's publication, but there's lots of ways. And I'm also happy for SoTL to be communicated through writing. I'm no longer at the point where I want to kind of say you're in the SoTL group or you're not. It's everyone's welcome. There's lots of different ways that we can do this work. When it comes to kind of how I got to be where I am in the SoTL community, one of my great collaborators and colleagues, Mick Healey, together we created a lot of communities where we brought people together to have these conversations. And we did that around international collaborative writing groups. How do we bring people together from different countries to write about scholarship of teaching and learning? Some of you might have been involved in that. And a lot of time around how we engage students as partners. But that idea really shaped how Mick and I think about writing, which is we imagine it as being in conversation. And we actually imagine as we're writing, there are other humans we're talking to, right? In the SoTL community. So it reminds us to keep it really human and relational in our writing, but it also reminds us to honor what other people have written about and said. So you're going to see that kind of idea coming out quite a bit. I must also acknowledge Mick and Alison and our book, and there'll be a lot of stuff I'm going to be drawing from this book, which thanks to Elon University, everyone in the world can access for free. So it's published through Elon University Press. I've just dropped the link in there as well if you haven't seen it, but I just want to acknowledge there's a lot of stuff I'm going to be taking from this book, and also a lot of people contributed their lived experiences that are case studies in the book as well. So I just want to acknowledge and honor those people who were very willing to kind of tell true stories about their experiences of SoTL writing. So the aims for our next kind of 40 minutes together is to kind of grow your knowledge of and confidence in about SoTL writing. So no matter where you are from emerging to experience, I hope there's gems that you're able to sort of take away from this session. And also I'm hoping to expand your horizons about how to go public, what those possibilities might look like. Sometimes when it comes to SoTL, we, especially if you're at a university like mine, a research intensive, it becomes all about publishing in the top, the best, the A-star. Yet I'm hoping to open your ideas to there are many ways we can tell honest, impactful stories about SoTL through writing that doesn't necessarily have to be a research publication, or different ways we do research publications. The agenda, we're going to kind of start with values and identity. We're going to talk about some genres and then a planning tool. What you can see here too is that I've linked the talk to each part of the book. So if you want more information later, you can just go to that section of the book. So first, I would love to hear the why. So take a moment and think about your answer before you write anything in the chat. Why are you interested in writing about teaching and learning? What is it that's motivating you, that's animating you, that's your intention? There's a couple options here, and you might have multiple options there. So my job requires me to do it, something, I need to say, it's joyful. Now, I would love now if you could put your letters in there. I'm A, I'm D, but also I'm E, and here's why. So everyone's going to kind of put their letters, plus expand on something that's not there. Yeah, thank you, Mel. Thank you, Trisha. Oh, Louise, you're the first one who's just won. There you go. Yeah, I want to share what I'm saying, doing good things. Bianca's a C. I love teaching and I want to, make something I truly love. I love it. Joy and sharing. Yep. Not as many Ds. I was definitely a D, but I do see that Haley is a D as well. Sometimes I think frustration can be great fuel if we can harness it. Yeah. So thank you everyone in kind of reading across again and your willingness to kind of share in the chat where you're at. And there's something important about knowing your why when it comes to the scholarship of teaching and learning. And really thinking about the why helps us to think about our motivations, our values, but the why actually focuses how we think about how we're meant to do writing about scholarship of teaching and learning and where. So it's just a moment to kind of reflect on that. So to be honest, although it would be simple to say that I write because of academic expectations, that's not my main driver. I write because writing helps me make my thinking explicit and lets me see it from outside. And I often write collaboratively because I'm hoping to support others' work or gather multiple perspectives to enhance my own. I love this comment from Nicola Simmons, who's Canadian. She was then at Brock University. She's done a lot of work around scholarship of teaching and learning, a prolific writer, but Nicola's also super generous. She's always creating these edited texts where she's inviting lots of voices into it as well. But I think what Nicola gets to there, and you can see it a lot in many of the comments you all are saying too, it's multiple reasons. But Nicola adds another dimension that I hadn't thought about until Nicola wrote this, which is this idea that I see it from the outside. It's something that I write it, but then when I read it, I see it in a different way and how other people are going to read it and are going to see it as well. And then that notion of collaboration. So you'll see in the text, we talk a lot about really knowing your why and the multiple whys that happen in your writing. All right, so same thing to who. Who are you writing to or want to write to in your SoTL publications? Who's your audience? And again, it could be a few. Who's your audience? I love how Trisha's added in the third space workers, making sure that we're having an inclusive conversation, that writing is not just the business of academics, but of everyone involved in SoTL, including students. So for most of us I'm seeing in here, we are really thinking about academics in our discipline. This is one of the beautiful things about the scholarship of teaching and learning. People talk about it as the big tent. Doesn't matter what discipline you're from, we can all come together and think about scholarly teaching and learning. Yet, when you're embedded in a discipline, you have so much more scope to influence because you understand the context as well within your discipline. So it's great to see that. No worries. Alison's got the oops. So most of us want to talk to multiple groups of people. Interestingly, most of us don't write for students. Some of us might write with students. Louise in there is saying, absolutely, I want to write to students as well. It's important though to think about your audience because again, if we come back to that relational notion of we are writing hoping someone's going to read it, when we have those people in mind before we start writing, it makes it easier to focus because we're imagining how it's going to land with them. Sometimes we just get into writing and think, I've got to write it to get it out there. But if you don't know the people you're writing to, sometimes you might find you just go too big or in too many different directions. You have trouble focusing on who really is going to read this and interpret it. So part of getting into that mindset and getting set up is really having that clear sense of these are the groups that I want this to land with. So SoTL writing at the end, again, it's about people, but it's about that SoTL community, and that's also about you. So again, it's just coming back to situating SoTL writing and teaching and learning about thinking about the people behind it, not just writing on our computer screens. And that comes back to the being in conversation we talked about. We were really, really influenced by Candler and Thompson, who've written a lot about writing, largely for PhD students, but my goodness, there's a lot of great stuff in Candler and Thompson about writing and their metaphor of thinking about being in a conversation. Other people have used it as well, but we wanted to bring that to the SoTL community. Another thing they talk about is this being identity work. The way that we write is actually our sense of belonging to a scholarly community. And this really comes back to me asking, so where do you feel like you are with the community and the relationship? Because the more you feel like you belong within the SoTL community, the easier it becomes actually to write, because you feel like, well, I have a voice in here and I'm meant to be contributing. And how my writing is accepted also influences how I feel like I actually belong to a community of scholars. So you should never feel like you're alone when you're SoTL writing, even if you're just doing it yourself, because you're thinking, I'm part of a community. And I love what someone else said in the chat, which is, I want to start a conversation. My writing is about starting a conversation. Your identity also are the values that animate your educational role in your writing. So again, you've got values about the role you're in. Again, whether you're a student, you're a staff, you're a third space, you're academic, casual, you've got this sense of this is my role within the university that influences how I come to my SoTL writing. And finally, our identity work, we've got a lot of entrenched norms and assumptions about what counts as scholarship of teaching and learning, what counts as legitimate scholarship of teaching and learning, what counts as worthy of being published. And you could add that who actually counts, who gets counted within that. So that identity work in writing, a lot of that will actually come out. So we are shaped and we shape and we're shaped by our writing. So some of the key messages around getting yourself in the mindset of writing, or why, if you might feel yourself hesitating or being blocked or feeling like it's just not coming in the ways that you want, it really is an understanding of your sense of self within the scholarship of teaching and learning community, but also that's strongly influenced by disciplinary norms. So for those of us who have moved from something like biomedical sciences, where I used to write about herpes simplex virus, that's a whole different world and a whole different way of believing about how knowledge is formed that I had to twist out of to kind of come into the SoTL world. When you can do that, it's actually a gift, right? Because you've got this hybridity, right? You've got this luminality where you can move between discipline and context, but that doesn't mean it's an easy thing to do. And of course, we've got our institutional context. I don't know about you all, but UQ has this fantastic dashboard with my name on it, and it compares my citation impact to everyone else in my discipline at my level. And they like that does stuff to you too, where you think, oh my goodness, I've got to kind of perform for these metrics. It's just taking all of this into mind and being aware how it's shaping your values. So when you think about your identity, writing is absolutely an integral part of developing your identity as a SoTL writer. So it's not just writing, it's how you see yourself in connection to community. And although many are published writers in their disciplines, most of us enter SoTL from a different discipline, and we need to be kind to ourselves and understand what that means. But also we've got to understand the norms and assumptions about writing that might need to switch or move or change when we move into writing about human beings and the complex interactions of teaching and learning. So this really goes down to this notion that writing shapes the writer as much as the writer shapes their writing. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, something must be wrong with me because I'm not being able to get this, absolutely not. So many of us have experienced that, and writing is actually a huge act of courage because we're exposing ourselves, right? We're putting ourselves out for judgment. And when we're coming into a new community, that actually can feel quite like a heavy weight. So please be kind to yourself when you think about yourself as a writer and a member of the SoTL community. So I want you to think about how can you use SoTL writing too? And I want you to think about this. And in a moment, I'm going to invite some people to, if you feel like you're ready, to unmute and to voice, right? And to kind of start this conversation. How can you use SoTL writing to shape your identity and to nurture your sense of belonging within the SoTL discourse community? So you're thinking about, how is writing going to help me feel like I belong? Or you might be thinking about, how can I use SoTL to bring yourself to writing and express yourself with a clear voice? How can SoTL help you feel like I've got a voice within the community? I can start a conversation or contribute to it. But also, how can SoTL help you to engage both emotionally and intellectually to tell true stories about the complexities and realities of teaching and learning and teachers and learners. So any one of those, just take a moment. And I would love it if someone was willing to unmute and share. And it's okay if we do it at the same time. Thanks. Sue, you want to go first?
I just think of it as a third space professional staff member that SoTL helps to really anchor my belonging in that space and to really own my knowledge and expertise. I think it sort of helps you to stand on an equal footing with an academic as well when you're having a conversation with them. So I think that really helps to shape the identity of me as a third space staff member who belongs there and belongs in the conversation.
Thank you so much, Sue. I really appreciate you bringing that perspective. Who wants to go next?
I'll say something. Also being a biomedical scientist and completely feeling what you said before about everyone's citation index and scores and everything. And it's like, well, you don't count because you're a teaching focused academic, and that's the stuff we do because we have to, not because we are good at it or because we love it, but then also not appreciating the skill and expertise that is required to be a good educator or to be the best educator that you can be, as opposed to just being, you know, having some sort of metric there for good. So I think that it helps me to, like, the SoTL writing helps me to have a purpose and actually feel worthwhile in a group where it's not respected. So the broader community, I'm getting, I guess, the respect from the broader community as opposed to that small discipline. Yeah.
Wow, Nicole, thank you, one, for your honesty there. And I mean, I think all of us, like, we can feel that. So thank you. Haley?
I just want to clarify to start with that I haven't actually published anything in SoTL yet. And so I'm looking forward to this opportunity, I suppose. But I think it's more for me, I think I get frustrated quite often trying to influence change in how we approach teaching and trying to encourage my colleagues to change their teaching practices. And they sort of look at it as in, it's just my opinion of what good teaching is. And so I suppose I want SoTL to carry some weight, that it's evidence-based, that this has been looked into, this has been evaluated. Yep. You know, it's not just my truth. This resonates with what good teaching practice looks like, to try to influence change in my colleagues.
I love that, Haley. Thanks. And I have to say, I started in biomedical sciences. I moved to Australia. I worked in student services. I was a third space professional trying to do that work. And I moved into an academic role, and I was trying to have that legitimacy. So I really can, like, all of that comes together. But I think, Haley, what you've done is you've pushed us to say, but ultimately we do this work because we care about teaching and learning and teachers and learners. And we want to see those better experiences. And this is a community where we can get that support, but also the motivation and the inspiration. And writing clarifies how we talk about it. And it helps us to know the other people, right? And it helps us to know the evidence. So it all comes together. Yes. Sharon, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say.
Well, it's a nice segue from what you've just said, Kelly, because I'm the opposite way around. I've come from the higher ed sector and into the dual sector institutions context, and I'm using SoTL as the vehicle to establish a research culture.
Love it.
So really grateful for this conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that multiple perspective. Again, it's one of the things I do love about the SoTL community is there's so many different stories, and we're okay with that. We're not trying to tell everybody you've got to be this way. We know how to exist in plurality. And again, Sharon, you've just kind of pointed that out again of just the many different ways that we're coming from, the backgrounds that we bring. And dual sectors are going to be they already have been important. They're going to be even more important in Australia, and bringing that level of inquiry through that way. Thank you. So when we think about the opportunities, Deb, will come one second. So when we think about the opportunities that SoTL can afford you, I mean, in some ways, I think you've already started to identify this, right? It's not just what I can use it for, but you're thinking I can use it because I see these opportunities. I see an opportunity to grow an inquiry culture, to take teaching and learning seriously. We see all of that in there. One of the things I want to do is push some of our conventional boundaries that might be holding some of us back, to think publication must look like this. Yes. Deb, jump in.
Sorry. I
No,
was
please.
just, all of this is just beautiful, Kelly, and it's really resonating with me, and I'm sure with a lot of people here. I actually mentor a group of what we call new scholars, new SoTLers, and I've been doing that for the last 2 years, and many of them are here. And what I loved is what you said about it takes emotional and intellectual courage to do this. And one of our SoTLers, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, she talked about the notion of intellectual streaking, that it was like I'm putting myself out there, and, you know, coming from a particular sort of background, and I haven't done this before, but I need to have the courage to be able to do this. So, you know, it's wonderful that we've got a group of people, and this group is building. And as Hayley said, to get to the point where it's actually recognised that it's not just a single voice, it's, you know, it's not just about what I think, that it is a credible source of evidence.
Absolutely. Thanks, Deb. And I think that's something in the book we wanted to really foreground, because it's very common, especially if you come from the sciences, but also in Western cultures of academia, to think of it as a cognitive, rational experience. And then people will say things to you like, oh, don't get upset. Don't take that feedback personally. Well, no, I put myself into that writing. Of course, I feel it. So it's really just honoring that intellectual and emotional experience that happens around it, that you summed up so well, Deb. I love intellectual streaking, and I really want to see that like written up as an opinion piece or something out there, so the rest of us can use it and grow with that one. So how might you embrace the potential of SoTL writing to acknowledge, affirm, and constructively critique rather than attack or undermine? Look, Mick and Alison and I felt really strongly about this, because we have had so many instances of writing where the reviews come back and they are harsh. There's no reason that they needed to be that unkind, but to be fair, that's what I did when I first started reviewing, and I'm sorry for that. I thought that's what I was supposed to do because no one taught me. So it's this idea of saying, how within SoTL can we do it differently, to say, I hear you and I wonder about this. Can we think about it that way? Instead of just being like, now I'm going to rip you apart, because my idea of critique is just negativity. So I think there's something there about really thinking about, how can I be the type of SoTL scholar who's affirmative, who's strengths-based, but still critical? So I think there's something there. How can we think about it to illuminate and expand rather to obscure and diminish? So how do we grow the stage instead of just trying to be like, I'm trying to put the spotlight just on me? So it's this idea about thinking about writing also in a community, about how you want to be in the community and modeling that, as well as, and this is Gary Poole's point, it's so great, not representing discipline-specific complexity instead of trying to say, and now I'm trying to generalize to everybody. How can we be okay with actually grappling with complexity and learning from it without feeling like, but the only way I can do this research is if I can say, well, the students in my course are like everybody else in the world. So there's something here about how SoTL is really asking us to think differently about the behaviors, but also contesting some of what I want to call academic bad behavior when it comes to writing that many of us come up in, and it's not questioned. I love that SoTL is questioning that. So in the book, we argue for two things. We argue writing for publication is a complex process of creating and contributing to conversations. It's about forging identities, and it's embracing opportunities for ongoing learning, right? Because we do it, and through the process of writing, we're actually learning. All good research and inquiry is actually a learning process. We also argue that we need to recognize and value writing about teaching and learning through lots of different genres. So let's move on to that one. So which genres would you say you're most comfortable with? So this is another in the chat, A, B, C, and D. And I love that Sue's put the intellectual streaking link up there for all of us. Thank you, Sue. So which genres would you say you're the most comfortable with? Is it the empirical research article, the case study, editorials, reflective essays, or something else? I think any of us who kind of came up through the sciences, we just learned the empirical research article. Psychology too. Yeah, I love, particularly in the health professions, they're so good at case studies. Yep. Oh, Jeff, I love that you're comfortable with reflective essays. That took me a while to get comfortable with. I love Alice's point. And this Alice's point gets to this, and Alice wrote in there, like, it's tricky. I feel most comfortable as a scientist, but not as comfortable in methods in education. So there's something about why do we feel comfortable with this, right? And most of us, it's because it's what we learned. It's how we kind of came up through the academic kind of discipline pathways. Some of us had the luxury and honestly the gift of working outside of academia and universities and then coming into it. So we brought those experiences that didn't quite entrench us in this is the one way that it might happen. But there's something that becomes really important in thinking about that why, and if that why is coming from the discipline and the methods as well. So let me do this right now. In the book, we talk about multiple genres, right? We have the empirical research article, and we see a lot of that in the scholarship of teaching and learning, right? It's kind of the classic, here's my hypothesis, or here's my question, here's how I gathered my data, here's how I'm going to report it, here's what it means. But we also have conceptual articles, which is actually, I want to play with idea with this theory. Like everyone's talking about the flipped classroom, but what really are they talking about? So I want to contribute conceptually to an idea that I think we need to have more. So I don't have empirical data in that sense. We've got literature reviews, we've got case studies of practice, reflective essays, opinion pieces. We've also got books and edited collections. Now, a lot of people don't think a presentation is writing. But if you think about our idea of SoTL as being in conversation, actually presentations are a form of going public, and they're a form of being in conversation that might lead into another form of writing or might lead into new collaborations. But we felt like we couldn't actually leave out the part about the importance of presentations. Storytelling, I think, is an exciting new genre, and more and more people in the SoTL community are asking questions like, how do we tell a true and a real SoTL story about teaching and learning, and who should be allowed to tell those stories, which is where we see people pushing for students actually being allowed to publish in SoTL as well. We have teaching awards, fellowships, and promotions, and you might say, oh, Kelly, like that's not SoTL writing. But I'm going to tell you right now, when you spend that much effort in trying to say, here's my teaching philosophy, here's my evidence for why I should have this award, oh my Lord, please promote me, right? All of that is actually leaning into a form of writing where you're doing it in the first person and you're really putting yourself out there. So we felt we needed to talk about that. And there's also the aspects of how social media fits into going public around SoTL as well. Now, many of these things might work together in that sort of sense, but the idea of the genres is we were trying to really get people to think, what can each of these genres do for us in terms of telling real stories about teaching and learning, putting that research and that evidence out there. So what we did for each one of these, and you can again see it in the book, but also the website, you can download it. Each one, we have a description of the work we think it can do, why you would use it. We have writing frameworks for each one that guide you through questions to say, all right, these are the types of questions I've got to answer if I want to write in these genres, as well as examples of what each of these look like in a published format. So one of the things when you're planning is you got thinking deliberately about what's actually the genre I want. Do I actually want to tell a more reflective story where I write in the first person and I say, I want to tell you about this, and then I want to tell you about my experience? Or are you thinking, no, I've collected a lot of amazing data and I've got something that I really want to say about group assignments. And so I'm going to report on what I found, and I'm going to push thinking around that sort of data. Sometimes, though, at least I found when I first came into writing, I was confusing some of those and I was frustrating myself because I wanted to write in the first person. But of course, my science colleagues were saying, you cannot write in the first person, Kelly, you must use passive voice. There's no I. And when I found these different genres, it's like it just opened me up to say, this is where I can actually put myself into it in an explicit sort of a way. So when you go through the book, if you look at part 4 in chapter 1 between pages 10 and 22, what you are going to see there is a lot of information that's trying to affirm that you need to think about your values and your identity and your emotions when you think about those genres. It's a lot of stuff to help you ask those questions, but also to help you think about what's the right genre for this piece of writing that I am doing. So a lot of times when we think about the abstract, and this also blew my mind, how many of you, and let's just be honest, because we're all thinking friends and we all love each other at this moment. We all know we're in the same kind of boat here, even though we have different experiences of it. When you think about writing an abstract, when do you do it? When do you write the abstract in your writing process? If you're new to writing, imagine when you think you'd write the abstract. Surely at the end, last at the end. Yep, I love Deb writes it first. Yep, I always did it last, but recently I've been encouraged to do it first. Yep, it depends usually. So this is something too, and Kamler and Thompson introduced this in their book, but there are people who've been doing it for a long time. And one of the things that I've found with more experienced writers is most of them think about the abstract first, and they write it first because it's an important planning tool. It helps you to try to write out the kind of the context and what's important about it and what you might have there. I love Jeff saying it's recursive. I can't tell you when I first started writing how many times I wrote the abstract as an afterthought. And honestly didn't even pay attention to it, and I think we've all done that. But after the title, the abstract is the most important part of your article or your publication for those types of genres that have an abstract. And why is that? Because it's the first thing people see. So maybe it shouldn't be the last thing that we think about. And your abstract should tell the story of your paper, but it also can be a planning device. It can help you to actually keep yourself focused on what you need to write and in what order. So here's an example. A lot of this comes from Roy Seiler's 2008 book, which is an amazing book, by the way. It's a fantastic book. So when you're thinking about your abstract for empirical type articles, conceptuals, right? It should give a clear summary of what the story is about. It should include a rationale. It should state your aims. It can give details about the sample or the participant or the numbers or the sector, if that's it's empirical. It can say where the research took place. Says something about your methods or the approach you used, including if it's conceptual. It gives some findings. It gives some implications. And here's a tip everybody recommends. Avoid saying things that are very vague along the way. And I will say, again, another great tip from Peter Felton. Once he read something I wrote, and he said, Kelly, I had to get all the way to the end of your paper to realize what mattered. He said, it's not a mystery novel. I want you to tell me up front. And I used to think, but I'm supposed to keep it at the end to make you want to read the whole thing. So here's, again, my assumptions kind of going on in that process as well. So I think there's lots of stuff that we need to think about that goes into an abstract that reminds us of just how important it is. And I love Bev coming in here about the tiny text that Pat talks about in particular. And she's got a fantastic blog as well. So thanks for that, Bev. So when we think about the abstract, and again, Kamler and Thompson, thank you so much. We modified this very slightly to fit the SoTL kind of context, but there's questions, right, that an abstract should answer. Question 1, how well is this work located in relation to the broader discipline, policy, practice, or issues, right? There's something where you're locating it for readers. That first sentence shouldn't just dive in. It should say, all right, in higher education, there's been so much attention on contract cheating. Right? So you're bringing the reader saying, okay, I'm trying to locate you in what I'm talking about. Has the abstract focused the topic of the paper and identified the kind of research that it's been taken up? So then the next thing might be, but now with generative AI, we're having new and different conversations about what contract cheating might look like, right? So it's the broader topic and it brings the reader in. Okay, you've situated me. Now you're telling me what you're talking about. Then it anchors, right? The abstract is the anchor in the appropriate literature, models and theories, or methods of data collection, right? So then I might kind of come into that abstract and say, so when we're thinking about Gen AI and contract cheating, I really want to come to it from a perspective of identities, student identity, right? So now I'm saying, and now I'm telling you there's a body of literature that I'm going to situate this in, or conversation that people are having around this. Once I've anchored it, then you report, okay, so what is this research? How was the research undertaken, its methods and its designs? And again, Kamler and Thompson really were coming from the empirical research article mindset, But if it were a conceptual paper, I might say, and so what I'm reporting is a conceptual piece of a qualitative literature review within the context of identities and contract cheating. So even conceptually, you tell people what was my method for it. For the research findings, you're saying, and so I conducted an interview with 25 students to understand how it intersected with their identity, right? So you're getting down into the reporting bit. And then you've got the argument. They use the word argument. Boy, Mick, Alison, and I had lots of debate because I don't particularly love the word argument, but I get it's important. It's the so what, it's the impact, it's the what matters, right, in there. So then you're saying, and what I found is really important because it said when students are thinking about Gen AI, it is confusing their sense of what it means to be a good student, and they're judging themselves, right? So then you come in with and now I'm telling you now, here's the argument, here's something I'm saying that matters. So my abstract tells that story. So this framework for me was liberating. I found it so useful to have the questions and then to answer it, because if you're anything like me, and please put your hands up if you're like me, when I should write 50 words, I will write 500 words, right? Like I'm just being concise is not the best thing for me. So having that sentence and being like, just answer this, just answer it, Kelly, right? That was really helpful for me because I'm an overwriter. So Lord love Mick, he loves a good mnemonic. I'm not a mnemonic person, but I'm going to put it out there. He came up with this mnemonic in case you needed to just remember, right? The locate, focus, anchor, report, and argument text of that. So I really love Pat Hutchins. She was talking about how the book was a gift. She's making her comment about how writing books can be pedestrian. But one of the things she really praised about it was that it really shows you how to have a personal scholarly voice. And we really loved that feedback because a lot of the subtle writing, it comes to life for you as a reader when you feel like the writer was trying to talk to you and like the writer was thinking about you in that sense. So that idea of having a voice in your writing, but being aware of who your readers are is really important. And that's something when we think about different genres of writing, which is what is my scholarly, subtle voice in this piece? And when I'm thinking about my audience, what's on their mind? I'm thinking about what's going to land with them. And that feeds into how we cite in literature we look at, but really it's that idea of writing with your reader in mind. I literally have a conversation in my head with people when I'm writing. I pick someone and I kind of think, oh, I'm writing this for Alison. Okay, Alison would think this. Okay, so you're thinking da-da-da, I'm thinking. So it helps me to have that kind of a dialogic process in there. So I'm going to wrap up now. I'm going to answer your questions. And I really do appreciate if you're thinking, Kelly, this was so unsatisfying because we didn't get to get into the stuff. There was no way we were going to get into the stuff in an hour though, right? We were like leaning into it. And again, I'm really happy, and it's up to Deb to think about if we want to have the next session of this, which is, okay, what does it mean to actually get into the frameworks, or a session on what does it mean to actually collaborate well and effectively, and why would I collaborate? We could do a whole session on the importance of a title, the amount of research on titles. There's research on everything, but there's a lot of interesting stuff even about titles. So there's lots of opportunities there. But what I'd love you to do right now is if you could just think of like one takeaway message, the one thing you heard from this, and one action you might take as a result. And I would love it if someone felt, again, courageous enough, because we're all friends, to unmute and to say, this is what I will be taking away. And it doesn't mean everyone else has to agree. It's your own, this is what I'm taking away because of where I'm at. And here's the one thing I'm going to do. Anyone feeling brave enough to unmute and say, I'm going to have a go, Kelly. I'm not going to leave you in silence, even though silence is nice.
I'll have a go, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm from UNSW. I don't have a definitive answer, but I'm playing around with the concepts of subtle writing and academic identity and community, and how those three things can interlink on my own journey. I actually come from higher education research background, but particularly in the area of engineering identity. And I made a sort of a big physical move, but also disciplinary move into business. So I've kind of lost part of that identity, and I've been here a year now and trying to find the new identity. And I'm finding it really interesting how forming communities around writing is allowing me to create that identity with my writing. So yeah, those are the 3 ideas that I'm playing with and really enjoying working through your book as well. So thank you.
I really appreciate you sharing that. And it really does also just help me think about, there's something important about your stance and your standpoint and where you're at. And it really came out in that comment. Like, I've come from engineering, education, higher education, it's that kind of overlap, but that bringing that kind of disciplinary knowledge and knowing to say, what does it mean then to form my identity? Again, each of us have some unique standpoint that we bring to our subtle writing, but that importance, that notion of community, I'm really looking forward to seeing where that conversation leads. Gabby, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I'll just say one more thing before
Please.
have a turn. So I saw your book, information about your book online ages ago, and someone said that they were using it as a thinking point with a group. So I thought, that's a brilliant idea. So I came together with a group of education-focused academics, and we meet weekly, and we go through a chapter of the book, and then we talk about it, and we write about a prompt that we either generate or get from the book. And we just kind of using it as a place, also particularly as education-focused, finding our subtle voices and all those different things I mentioned. So we're already enjoying the journey. So thank you.
Thanks. I mean, Gabby, I think you've introduced another particular talk, which is, what does it mean to learn how to write and write with other people, to actually have that space to talk process as well, and what it means to do that in community where you can support each other. So thank you. I love reading what people are writing in the chat. Is there anyone else that wanted to unmute and voice? I'm going to pick up on Sharon's point, which was a good question, which said, I'm grateful for the mention of reflective pieces. Sorry, I just moved. But can you speak to recommendations on what to do with that? Yes, now this is probably not going to surprise anyone, Sharon. I'm going to say you really need to read the reflective essay chapter in the book, which has that guidance there. But I will say, really from Alison Cook-Sather, I learned a lot about the genre of reflective writing, and people do it in lots of different ways. But Alison's is very specific to pedagogical practice. And it really is this notion of reflective essays that more and more teaching and learning journals are making space for, which is fantastic. And that's the first person lived experience of talking about a situation in our teaching or in our learning. Again, third space students, staff, from your standpoint, and describing it and then reflecting on the process of it. And here's what was happening when I was coming through this. And here's what I got with that. So it's not meant to be a reflective piece that has to bring in a lot of other scholarship. It's supposed to demand and situate that my lived experience, when reflected on well, is in of itself a legitimate piece of knowledge worthy of publication. For many of you, you might see resonance with that particular view amongst certain First Nations communities as well, that notion that me and my lived experience actually should count as knowledge. It doesn't have to be referenced to death and have all that around it. So really thinking about that the reflective essays in that sense. Again, Alison has written several pieces around that as well outside of the book. And for me, that was a really great starting point. But, and this is a but, sometimes writing reflective essays where I send them to journals that don't really understand it and don't prepare reviewers for it, I have gotten feedback that I found was unnecessary and harsh because you put yourself into it. They feel that reviewers sometimes can attack you personally, right? Even though they don't know who you are. And you feel that a lot differently in a reflective piece than if it's me presenting data. So I would definitely say when you do that, just take care that you're sending it to a journal or a place where you know they have care around what that means to take care of a review process for reflective essays. We are about to end soon, but are there any other questions? Yeah, Deb, please go ahead while people put questions in.
No, I wasn't questioning Kelly. I was just going to round up if that's all right, because I'm aware that people need to move to other meetings. But what I wanted to do, please, on behalf of everybody here in the session, to thank you. It's been really highly engaging and certainly thought-provoking. And I know that from looking in the chat space and seeing all the takeaway messages that people have had, it has got us to start thinking about the link between identity and SoTL. And I think that's most important. And I think that's the thing that people struggle with the most, about who I am and what I'm supposed to be writing about. And I think I've just written down a few key takeaways for myself. I love the notion of thinking friends. I think that was great. And I haven't heard that before. And I think it's also something that, a term that could assist in creating that really safe, supportive space in a writing community as well. So thank you for that. The second one was about the definitions of SoTL, because often we've been told, tied to Boyer's original definitions, and coming to the notion of, 1,000 flowers letting bloom. That was just wonderful. Because I think too, that opens up the support for that notion of multiple genres, the way that we can get our SoTL voice out into the community to particular stakeholders. And the last one is the notion of relationships and the idea of linking with our audience. Who are our audience? What do we want to tell them? What's the message that we want to engage with them? And that real notion of dialogue. I love when you're saying that, I think about, well, let me think about someone that I'm talking to, and I write the paper for this particular person. So for me, they were the takeaway messages. And I think I can say on behalf of everybody that, yes, they'd like you back. So we could organise that. That would be fabulous. So if everyone can just virtually give a little clap for Kelly, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks. You're welcome also to put your video on and say goodbye. We can remind ourselves we're all people here too, but thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
There we are. We're getting lots of little waves. And thank you everyone for attending. I know that you'd really enjoy this, so hopefully we can engage Kelly again, and I'll send out the details as soon as we can organise that. So thanks, folks.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. And also, Deb, you could have run this as well. You've done so much work. So I realize there's so much expertise on the screen with us.
No, not as eloquently, Kelly.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, everyone. It was really good to see you as well, Kieran.